Welcome guys. I made a new cell plate. I'm gonna try to keep this quick, but you know how it goes. I always keep on ranting. This is my newest version of my custom B1000, or commonly called UHMW cell plates. I like to make my own cell plates. I'm not a very good skater. I know some people are gonna hate me for it because, oh man, look at that, so wide, looks so stupid. It's not that wider, not much wider than shadow plates or the adopt or symmetrics plates. I'm gonna show you the basics, and I'm going to show you the new features that is new in this version. I'm gonna take it off and talk about it. So these are the new babies. I kept the previous silhouette. I normally do. I've tried a couple patterns for the recessed areas. These are mostly to reduce the surface area during grinding, so it's much faster. This time the biggest upgrade on this plate for this skate is the wide, somewhat shallow groove, because I was using the free grooved plate for about 6 months, and it worked very well. I got a lot of flack for it. A couple people said it's, oh dude, it's very stupid. I liked it. I think it was good, but it's mostly good for single tricks. But for these budget, I'm not sure what they are called, budget or step over switch ups, when you go from acid to TTP with a stepping over it, you know, your plate, your foot shifts, and with the free groove plate, it was a bit difficult to go from one groove to the middle to the other side, just throwing me off a bit. For single tricks, the free groove is very good, but for general use, so far I'm quite happy with this. I'm still thinking about, should this be a bit more deeper and narrower to get better leverage for certain, like 1 foot grind tricks like backslide to whatever. It took me a lot of time, and I am not going to redo this, at least for now. This is about V3, V4 approximately, because I had one that turned out pretty bad and I didn't like that plate. This is about V3 or V4. So just quick basics. It's quite wide. It has a wider negative than the shadows or the adapt symmetrics. It's a couple millimeters wider than the shadows. Positives, quite average, but quite wide. So I told you about the recessed parts, that these serve not only as to decrease the grind surface, but has some other functions. For example, you could see that there's like a little inner groove, some scooping down here, and I do use this for these grind spin type tricks that I do nowadays, and it does help a little bit to have the end of that rail or sphere lock in here into this little pocket. So in this version, I didn't really make the wheel, well, this scooped out wheel area thin. I kept it a bit thicker than usual because my biggest problem with previous versions was the flex, that this shouldn't be bending more than this. I would even prefer less bending, less flex at the edges, at the ends. Also, when I was thinking a lot, but I kept the previous silhouette. I didn't improve on it. The most unique feature is the wide toe and heel, or rough and tough grind areas. I'm not planning to do rough tough grinds, but if I'm gonna do them again, I will be cutting a little groove here, just a few millimeters with a knife, just to have a little groove, and it locks on so well. You don't get this scary stuff that you lock onto toe or heel grind, rough or tough grind, and just slips off. It locks you much better. I made the same groove both for the outside as for the negative. So far, so far I will be testing these. Probably maybe the next version is going to have a bit um, narrower, maybe slightly deeper groove, just to test the difference with certain tricks. Also, what I like about this groove that I could really it's very versatile. That nowadays I do some torque, some backslide tricks. I have more confidence in those tricks with this sort of sole plate, mostly because I could control my angle. Because I don't always, maybe I need to watch it more, how my torque angle is, because sometimes rail is like this at an angle. Sometimes I'm in the middle for backslides. I'm not sure how I do my backslides. I need to check it, but it really gives me a lot of versatility to have this wide of a backslide groove. The biggest upgrade is the upper part. So this time I didn't go with the design that is very similar to the Adapt's design, that it has this elevated ridge on the side, which is uniform in width. Instead, this time I went more specialized and drawn out the sole of the skate, sole of the boot onto the sheet, and I machined it out. I made a mistake. Unfortunately, I should have started with a smaller drawing, because it ended up a bit larger than expected, and I should have just started smaller, then should have just carved it out with a knife or with the milling machine to fit it exactly, just to get a better, tighter fit, because the tighter fit reduces the flex right here where you see at the ends, flexes a bit, and I want to eliminate that flex almost entirely. Maybe with the next version, I will be definitely be doing a much more tighter initial drawing. I'm quite happy with the fitment around the heel in the back. The other upgrade is the drill hole pattern. Well, it's not, I didn't really do it with a pattern. I'm just a very random guy, and I just do things by my very precise eye measurement. Camera's going crazy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chill down. Chill, buddy. So it kind of bugs the camera. I'm not sure what it is. Very, very interesting. Okay, so I made a hole pattern because I can only machine this, and I could only use saws, a hand-controlled wooden that was made for wood, a hand-controlled milling machine that I pull on the sheet left and right, and I use paper patterns to get the shapes right. Often need to redraw them because the bottom of the machine scrapes it off quite quickly. So this whole pattern was mostly for weight reduction. This plate is 250 grams, approximately the same weight as my other saw plates. My thinnest and first saw plate that I made from this material turned out to be around 220 grams. This is around 250, but much more stable, has much less flex, and it also has much less flex on this axis. The previous version that is on the adapts got a bit bulky and ugly. Am I gonna modify that saw plate instead of remaking them? I wanted to make it a bit, just a little bit sleeker. I mean, to make it slope down at the ends so it doesn't look that ugly, even though it's not that large, but it kind of looks large, mostly because this these corners are not that tapered off at the ends, so it gives a much more wider look. And also I wear the largest USD Carbon shell size, so it's quite a long boot, and it's skinny. It's quite a skinny boot, so that's why it looks wider than average. There were some little mistakes made. You could see I punched through, or partially punched through, the sheet. It's not very visible and it's very annoying. This is mostly for weight saving and keeping the keeping the flex, the bending down, because it is somewhat similar to a hexagonal pattern, but I cannot make a hexagonal pattern with hand-controlled mill, only by 3D printing, but I cannot print P1000. I skated this a couple times. It works very well. I noticed that new plates need some time to break in because the material, the surface of the material from the factory, from the seller, has a surface that is not very, I don't know, it has some micro grooves from some polishing and cutting, and I need to break them in on a very rough ledge, just to not slide on it, but just touch on it and scrape off that scrape of that factory surface. Just showing it to you one more. Not sure where I'm gonna go next because I normally need like a couple months, like 5 to 6 months, to come up with new ideas, new needs, or really figure out what kind of issues I want to address. And I'm not really gonna start a plate CNC machining plate company because it just creates so much waste and it's very disgusting. So I just make a couple ones for myself. I do see that some people would try something like this. That's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.